Every trader who is losing wants the same thing. Not a Lamborghini, not a yacht. They just want to stop the bleeding. They want to feel, for once, like they are in control instead of the market controlling them. I wanted that so badly I could taste it. But for 2 years, I kept doing the one thing that made it impossible. I kept making the exact same mistakes, over and over, and I could not figure out why. This is the story of the tiny, boring habit that finally broke that cycle, and why losing traders who start doing it finally stop repeating their mistakes. Let me take you back to the worst of it. I would blow up an account, feel that sick drop in my stomach, and swear, this time I have learned my lesson. I would fund a new account, promise myself I would be disciplined, and within weeks I was right back in the same hole. Same revenge trades. Same oversized positions. Same panic. It felt like being trapped in a loop I could see but could not escape. And the worst part was the loneliness of it, sitting there at 2 a.m. wondering if I was just broken, if some people simply were not built for this. Here was the enemy I could not see, and it is the same one holding most losing traders hostage. My own memory was lying to me. After a bad trade, my brain would quietly rewrite the story. That loss was just bad luck. The market was manipulated. You were basically right. So every time I sat down to trade, I was starting from a false version of my own history. I could not fix my mistakes because I genuinely could not see them. My ego was editing the footage before I ever got to review it. And you cannot beat an enemy you refuse to look at. The turning point was almost embarrassingly small. A mentor asked me one question. Do you keep a trading journal? I said no, journals are for beginners. He just smiled and said, that is exactly why you still trade like one. So I started. Not a fancy spreadsheet. Just 3 things written down after every single trade. The date and setup. Whether I followed my plan, yes or no. And one honest line about what I felt. That was it. It took 90 seconds a trade. I thought it was pointless. I was completely wrong. Now here is the battle nobody warns you about. The journal only works if you are brutally honest, and honesty hurts. The first week, writing down the good trades felt great. But then came a revenge trade, and I had to write the real reason, no setup. I was angry about the last loss and wanted my money back. Seeing that in my own handwriting was painful. Part of me wanted to fudge it, to write something that made me look smarter. But I made a rule, the journal never lies, even when it stings. Especially when it stings. That rule changed everything. And then, around 2 weeks in, it happened. I read back through the pages, and the pattern jumped off the paper like it was highlighted. Almost every disaster trade had the same 3 words next to it, angry, bored, or rushed. My losses were not random at all. They clustered around specific emotions, specific times of day, right after a loss, late at night when I was tired. For the first time in 2 years, I was not looking at a wall of confusing red. I was looking at a map. And a mistake you can see coming is a mistake you can finally stop. Once I could see the pattern, everything shifted. I did not need a new strategy. I needed to guard 3 moments, after a loss, when bored, and when tired. So I made simple rules for exactly those. No trading in the 60 minutes after a red trade. No trading past a certain hour. The journal did not just record my trades anymore, it started coaching me. My results steadied, not because I found some magic setup, but because I finally stopped walking into the same 3 traps I had been falling into blind for years. So this is the lesson I wish someone had tattooed on my arm at the start. A trading journal will do more for you than any indicator you will ever buy. Because trading is not really a battle against the market. It is a battle against a version of yourself you cannot see clearly. The journal is the mirror that finally shows you the truth. Losing traders keep repeating mistakes because they never write them down, so they never actually meet them. The ones who break the cycle are simply the ones brave enough to look. So here is what I want you to do, tonight, before this feeling fades. Open a note on your phone, or grab any scrap of paper. After your very next trade, write just 3 things. The setup. Did I follow my plan, yes or no? And one honest line about what I felt. Do not skip the ugly ones. Especially do not skip the ugly ones. Do this for 2 weeks and I promise you will see your own pattern, in your own words, and you will never be able to unsee it. That is where change actually begins. And if you saw yourself in this story, if you have been stuck in that same loop swearing this time will be different, please hear me. You are not broken, and you are absolutely not alone. That loop is the most common trader story there is, and almost everyone who escaped it started with a habit this small. That is exactly why the quiet community around this channel exists. No hype, no signals to buy, no promises. Just traders learning to look at themselves honestly and change. The free link is in the description if you want people who get it. So before you go, do future you one favor. Start that journal after your next trade, and tell me down in the comments, what is the one mistake you keep repeating? Naming it out loud is the first crack in the cycle. Subscribe if you want the next lesson to find you, and remember this. You do not need to become a genius to turn your trading around. You just need to become honest enough to see what you have been doing, and brave enough to write it down. See you in the next one.